So before starting my own video, I have an urgent message. Pay no attention to the last video on Where's Wally's channel. I have no further comment. So I often get requests to do more videos on aviation, and this one will kill two birds with one stone. I'll talk about some of the systems in the aircraft and also how real observations from high altitude once again confirm that the horizon does not rise to eye level. What we're going to look at now is the TCAS, which is the Traffic Collision Avoidance System. And what that does is interrogate the transponders of aircraft in the vicinity, and it displays their relative position and altitude on this display. You can see this small icon with a plus 06. That means the aircraft is 600 feet above us. Now this was taken on departure from Hawaii the other day while we were still climbing. So as you can see, as the video progresses, the relative altitude is reducing. And when it reaches zero, you can see there we're climbing. When it reaches zero, the aircraft is at the same level as us. Just about there, and he's not quite 25 miles away. Then I pan outside the window and you can see him. There he is right there, and there is the vapor trail coming from the aircraft. You can see very clearly that that aircraft appears well above the visible Earth horizon, even though he's at the same altitude. Now as we continue, we are climbing and we are now higher than his altitude, and yet he appears well above the Earth horizon. And I have no doubt that flat earthers will claim that the Earth horizon is higher than that haze layer, but we just can't see it. I'm sorry to burst your bubble once again, fellas, but the enhanced vision system in the aircraft, which uses an infrared camera, shows very clearly that this is not the case. The real Earth horizon is not above the haze layer, it is below it, and also, significantly, it is below the HUD horizon line, which is indicating the position of horizontal, eye level, and true level from the position of the aircraft. The real Earth horizon is well below. And this one was taken later in the flight once we had reached our cruising altitude of 41,000 feet. From Hawaii to mainland USA, there are several parallel tracks, each given an alphabetic designator: Alpha track, Bravo track, Charlie track, etc. And what that means is that every waypoint on that track will begin with the letter accordingly. On the Charlie track, every waypoint starts with the letter C. Now we were not the only aircraft using this track. There was another airliner 2,000 feet below us, and at this point he was almost 25 nautical miles ahead on the same Charlie track. And when you look outside, you can see even though he is 1,900 feet below us, he is visibly well above the horizon. That's his vapor trail, and you can see once again he is significantly above the natural Earth horizon. And here's another clip of the same aircraft, and at this point he was around 24 nautical miles ahead of us and still 2,000 feet below. The TCAS is showing minus 19, which is 1,900 feet, and that is simply because it is rounding to the nearest 100. Let's put those numbers into the Advanced Earth Curve Calculator produced by Walter Bislin. I have the observer height at 41,000 feet, which is our own altitude, and the other aircraft at 39,000 feet, at a distance of 27 statute miles. And you can see that he is visible below eye level, but well above the Earth horizon. Now, if we were looking at a flat Earth, he should appear below the Earth horizon. But as we can see very clearly in the video, he is appearing above the Earth horizon. More evidence that the horizon actually drops as you gain altitude. Now, the beauty of flying a corporate aircraft like a Global Express is that they operate higher and faster than most airliners. So on these long international routes, we quite often will overtake the aircraft beneath us. And that was the case on this trip also. You can see we're now getting closer to this aircraft, and the vapor trail is obviously below us. It became quite prominent at this point in the flight. And as you look at the TCAS display, you will see that we are now much closer to the aircraft ahead of us. And because we're closer, he is appearing lower towards the Earth horizon. You can also see just a very slight curve in the vapor trail. So a short time later on the same flight, you can see where we were, about halfway between Hawaii and the mainland USA. We were just about to overtake this aircraft, and at this point you can see very clearly that he is definitely below us. The TCAS is showing he is around 2 nautical miles ahead, and a few minutes later we had passed him. And the footage also allows us to explain why there are often these crisscrossing patterns in the vapor trails in the sky. It appears there that there were several aircraft flying on parallel tracks. However, what was more likely the case is that each of these aircraft were on the same route, and there was a crosswind, because in my own footage we can see that this aircraft flying on this same Charlie route that we were operating on has a vapor trail that is displaced well to our right, and that is because of the crosswind we were experiencing. You can see that here, 75 knots from the left hand side. So this aircraft, although being on the same track that we were operating on, had its vapor trail blown to the right of our position by the time we got there. And so our vapor trail would appear parallel to this one, and another aircraft following us would produce a third vapor trail that would give the appearance that there were multiple aircraft on different tracks. However, as I said, they were probably all flying the same track, and there is just a strong crosswind at high altitude. And the final point in this video is again looking at the head-up display, and particularly the HUD horizon line, which is showing us true level, because it is a valuable tool that allows us to determine if we are going to fly above or below a thunderstorm well in advance. If we're going to fly above, there's generally no need to change course. If the horizon line is indicating that the cloud will go above us, we will often request a diversion around a thunderstorm. Here I'm filming through the HUD with a theodolite app in my phone, and you can see that with the theodolite indicating 0 degrees of pitch up and down, the line is directly over the head-up display horizon line. When I move the phone down slightly, you can see we have negative 3.1 degrees. So this HUD horizon line will show us the position of true level, and that allows us to determine if the clouds we are approaching are going to be above our altitude or below them. Let's see how that works in the Earth Curve Calculator. So I now have the aircraft operating at 41,000 feet with clouds at 40,000 feet and currently 200 miles away. Those clouds will appear below the HUD horizon line. As we get closer, you can see the relative position is changing, but the cloud is always remaining below the HUD horizon line. We're now at 30 miles and it is still below. So at that point, I know already that we are going to fly over the cloud and there is no need to make a diversion. As we get closer, now just 16 miles, it is again clearly below our level. And then obviously we will fly over the cloud. Now, if we put cloud higher than our altitude, 43,000 feet, and move out to the distance again, you can see at 200 miles it will appear below the HUD horizon line. But as we get closer to the cloud, very quickly it will become apparent that the cloud is above our altitude. There we are at 58 miles, and as we get closer, we're now 30 miles away. It is quite obvious that that cloud is above our altitude. We're 30 miles out, we have plenty of time to request a diversion and fly around it. And this is another example of how the head-up display can improve the safety of flight. The HUD horizon line, showing true level, gives us an indication of whether we are going to be flying above or below cloud as we approach them. And this is particularly valuable flying at night, because combined with the enhanced vision system, which allows us to see the clouds even on a moonless night, We know well in advance if we need to make a diversion around the cloud or if we will fly safely above it. So here's the big telescope, and let's see who's controlling it. Emma, look at the camera and say hello to all the flat earthers. What a good girl. Now control the telescope. Press the buttons. That's the way. You know what to do. Now change the declination. This button, remember? Hold this button here. That bottom button. Keep holding it. You can press 2 buttons at once, that's fine. There we go, look at that. This is an equatorial mount, and it proves the Earth is not flat. Even Emma knows that.